Is this thing on?
All right, let's get this show on the road.
Okay. Welcome to the Coffee and Carving Show. Where we talk about carving and coffee. I don't know.
You ever think about being a songwriter instead of a wood carver? Like the lyrics are.
I know. Yeah. No, I've really
pretty strong. Oh my goodness!
It's something I have in my back pocket just in case.
Just in case. Yep. Well, otherwise we'll keep in your back pocket now. Welcome to
two-word song guy. That's really that's it.
Welcome to podcast episode number 23.
That's right.
This is the Coffee and Carving podcast, where we talk about not really much coffee and not much carving, just a bunch of nonsense. So let's start her off. We're started out strong today.
Sorry.
Two employees from the gas company were making a house call. The younger employee said to the older one, "Man, you're old." "Yeah, that may be so, but I can still outrun you," he replied. This has a little bit of the Alec and Doug feel to it, you know. Yeah. How about a foot race to see who's the fastest? The younger one said. With that, they started running around the block at full speed. The older man kept up with the younger man around the first corner, the second corner, and the third corner. As they approached the last corner, they saw an elderly woman running as fast as her little legs could carry her. Puzzled by this, they stopped to ask her why she was running behind them. The woman caught her breath and said, "Well, you're at my home checking the gas meter, and when I saw you running away, I figured I better run too."
No.
Because they're gas workers and they fled from her home.
Pretty good.
You know, when you have to start explaining it,
No.
I thought last week you complained it was a long joke, so I made it a little bit extra long today.
I liked it. No, it's who is the Canadian comedian who recently passed who has that sort of style where he'll go on forever?
Norm Macdonald.
Yeah.
Have you heard the moth joke?
That's the one.
Yeah. It's my favorite joke.
That's incredible. Yeah. It's a huge letdown, and it's also really funny.
Fabulous. Fantastic.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, with that, this coffee portion, which is really not a coffee portion, is brought to us by a bunch of unknowns today. Hey guys, if you want to your name shouted out, you got to write it in the comments, but also Tabitha. So thanks, Tabitha and the unknowns. We appreciate your support. And without further ado, what have you been up to there, Alec?
Hey everybody. I've just been doing the same old stuff every day. Oh yeah, you know it is.
We've awoken Alec.
I've really just been waking up and coffee and noodling around with this camera that you sent me, which has been fun a little bit here and there, like watching videos and trying to learn how to use this little action camera.
Have you tried anything?
No, I haven't yet. I haven't actually filmed anything. I planned on it today, but I didn't get to any filming. But I'm not really sure how I'm going to mount it. Really, for some background, I'm always getting in the way. If you've ever watched any of my YouTube videos or my school videos, I try to be better at it. Occasionally I still do get in the way of my camera, but especially on YouTube, constantly in the way of my camera. So Doug was saying that he has a camera in between him and the carving project, and so I tried to adopt this with my phone, and it worked pretty well. And so he said, I use these smaller cameras. Of course, the camera setup I use is so big that it's really not feasible to get that in between me and the carving. So the action cameras make it possible. So but I haven't figured out how to mount it to the wall yet. That's the biggest issue so far, but
Well,
otherwise,
if I can butt in on
yeah,
that
please.
subject
Yeah.
and stretch it a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
it's not only the cameras are too big. Like I have a Canon 80D,
Yep.
which is to me is a good camera with multiple lenses and whatnot.
Yeah.
The problem is keeping yourself in focus when you're not watching the camera.
Exactly.
And yeah, it always searches. You can set up manually, but then if you do try the auto, it's still, yeah, it's just a nuisance. So the always in focus little action camera seems to be the ticket so far for me, at least.
Yeah. No, so I love that idea. I'm so excited about it. So I've got Doug sent me we did little tradesies, and I got an Osmo out of it, little DJI thing, and it's it's really cool. So I'm excited to employ that. But otherwise, I have been bombing around with 4 giant cedar carvings in the back of my Honda that are just wafting the sweet smell of cedar into the car, which is really nice. But it's
that is nice.
But they need to go somewhere, and I have a shop the size of the average sunroom, like additional sunroom or added sunroom. So it's like 12 by 16, and that's not 12 by 16 feet. So it's small. So anyway, I have to find out what to do with the wood carvings. So that's kind of as far as what I've been up to, though. I don't know, it's been kind of a non-productive week back. I think I kind of wore myself out on these bigger carvings, and so I needed to focus on little tiny details. So I made Annalise a very small actually like a life-size flower, but I did all of the intricate little like seed details, and I haven't really done that on a sunflower carving in a long time. So that was actually kind of rewarding and fun to just kind of get caught up in the monotony of making the same little seed shape over and over again. So
yeah, that was very detailed. I stuck my nose and looked at it a couple times in the process, and
but I really prolonged it.
Yeah.
But it took like 2.5 or 3 days or something, like of fiddling with it each day, not the full day, but a few hours each day. So but otherwise, yeah, it's been I got to meet with a really great artist who I'm going to introduce later in the media section. I'm excited to chat with him more in the future, but I had a coffee meeting with him, and my grandma actually passed away this past a couple of days, and I already told you, Doug, this wasn't news to you, but we were able to be there by her bedside and actually kind of witness that occurrence. And it's the first time I've ever seen anything like that. And of course, it was incredibly sad, but it was also there was some calm to it. The way she passed, she kind, in a sense, she died of natural causes. She had some heart complications at the very end, but she lived a healthy life, no medications, and exercised every day up until age 99. So, even into age 99, she was, just a week before her death, she was, helping my mom with some cooking projects and cleaning, walking around doing the basement and doing her exercises and her stretchy bands. And so just a sweet old Greek lady who would constantly sing. Whenever I'd visit my grandma, she'd just be like, her head would be back kind of like half in nap mode, singing to herself, just in her like little old Greek woman voice, which was not very musical, but it was adorable. And you could walk up to her, she was so in her own little world. You could walk right in front of her and she wouldn't know you were there until you said, yeah. And she'd look up and she'd be like, oh, Alekobo. She's always so happy to see you. And so actually, quickly, not to go too far into this rabbit trail, but right before she died, the day before she died, I believe it was the day before, she was non-responsive for the most part. And I went to visit her knowing she probably wouldn't say or see anything. And I was able to, sitting around for 20 minutes next to somebody who's sleeping gets kind of boring. So I thought, I'm going to give her a hug. So I went and I said, I love you. Yeah. And I gave her a hug, and she kind of like twitched, turned around, looked at me and said, because I had my mask on, she said, who are you? And I said, Aleko in there, which means Alec, I am. I'm Alec. You say things backwards like Yoda in Greek. Alec, I am. And she says, oh, Aleko, and she kind of hugs me, and then she just goes right back out. So it was
that's fun.
it was a really sweet moment, though. I'm so happy that we shared that, and I went. And so, yeah, she was just a lovely woman who is chief concern before she passed was that my mom would plant the onions before before the it was too late to plant the seeds in her greenhouse before the spring starts. So she was an avid gardener, and I grew up gardening with my grandma. And until I was age 16, until I kind of outgrew being home so much, got my license and left more. I was every summer I spent, just most of the summer with my grandparents. It felt like for at least a couple of years, tending these 10 huge gardens that were probably, I don't know, 20 by 40 feet each, some longer, some smaller. But yeah, tomatoes, lima beans, onions, basically anything you can imagine we'd grow. And it was just it was a lot of fun. So taught me a lot of good skills there. So she will be missed.
Yeah, well, it's too bad, but yeah, 99,
pretty good.
She did good.
Yeah.
Eh?
Yeah,
she did really good.
But one thing was hilarious and really rude is our nurse. Actually, the nurses that were on staff at this hour were just kind of toast. You could see that they were tired, and so they were like coming in. My grandma was kind of slowing down her breathing. They took her off the CPAP, and they said, you got about an hour with her. So she's not oxygenating, so very low oxygen. But came in after a little while of her, starting to breathe very subtly, and said, oh, she's passed. And this, mind you, was the same woman who came in a few moments earlier and said, this is not a sad moment. This is a happy moment that your mother lived this long. No comfort, no consolation at all. And, the vocal intonation of a robot, and then left. And my mom, when she came back, asked her, how is this for you, seeing the death of so many people as a nurse? And she said, depending on the family situation, in some cases good, in some cases bad, and then left. And we just laughed and laughed because I said, she's definitely a robot. And of course, okay, so back to this original situation, grandma's fading. A nurse comes by and says, yep, she's passed, rushes over, starts taking the pins off of her. My grandma's twitching still. She's like, oh, see your pulse. She's definitely not totally gone. And she's like, to further the nurse's case, she puts the heart thing on her chest and doesn't say anything, picks it up, keeps taking the things off of her. And we're like, what? No heartbeat? She's like, well,
she's on her way out.
Slow heartbeat. We're like, oh my God. So I was telling my dad, if you've ever seen Monty Python, there's a scene where they're walking through this pile of dead people, and this man screaming, bring out your dead, bring out your dead. And a man comes with his father over his shoulder who's clearly alive, and he says, all right, this one. And he goes to pile him on, and the dad goes, oh, I'm fine, really. And he goes to give him away, and he's like, oh, I can't take him, he's definitely not dead. I'm like, oh, he's very sick though, he's on his way out. He's like, oh, I feel happy, he's like, I'm feeling better, really. So it was like the classic thing of this nurse just wanted to be done, with my grandma. And it was just so sad, but also, the state of affairs in hospitals right now. So in some cases, I guess.
No. Well, it's fun that it's fun to laugh.
Yeah, exactly.
Knowing that she had a good life, and
yep.
It wasn't it was tragic.
No.
Like,
yep.
Yeah. Well, that's fun. I want to ask you how was your sunflower received?
Oh, okay. So Doug and I have this thing where, and I don't want to throw our ladies under the bus.
Throw mine.
Can I do this? I'm not throwing mine under the bus either, but our ladies, I think they like our carvings. But when Doug and I have spent, I'll speak for myself here. I've spent, hours on a carving. Sometimes I'll show it to my girlfriend thinking she's going to go, oh my goodness, it's so beautiful. And usually
the appropriate response.
Right. And in our eyes, right, because we're perfect. Right. And so and our art is perfect. And we show, I show Annalise, and a lot of times she'll be like, oh, that's cool. And I'm like, what do you mean? That's that? It's just cool. Like,
yeah.
It's beautiful.
Well, Sophie, like, I could buy her a diamond ring.
Yeah.
And then to her credit, maybe 3 weeks later, she'll be looking at it going, I really, really like my ring. Thank you so much. I'm like, kind of late, don't you think? Kind of late, but yeah, better late than never. Like,
Yeah.
well, I have to process these things. He
Yeah.
says, but yeah,
Hilarious.
I thought I'd be like the old sheep farmer bringing home mutton chops for supper, being a wood
Yes.
carver, and like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
yeah.
No, and she did message me. No, so I should say her reaction. I gave it to her, and she said, wow, that's really nice. And it was like, she was excited, but
Yeah.
I don't know. She seemed excited enough, but still, you always long for this bigger reaction. And so, but she did message me that she loved it so much today. So that's nice. But yeah, you always want to get a bigger response. That's for sure.
Well, I always make up my mind on the response within the first 10 seconds.
Right.
And like anything after that is like, okay, now you just feel bad or something, right? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
well, that's too bad about grandma, but yeah. And the Valentine's is long. We when you get older, Valentine's just doesn't seem to have the same appeal.
Yeah.
And we've gone years here, years up and down, and not like buy something, don't buy something. Do I have to today?
Right.
Like I'll get some flour. But we went out and we got a big barbecue meal. Just takeout, wasn't that exciting, but nice change. That's about it.
Hey, that's nice. We did Coney Island with Annalise's little niece and nephews. We were babysitting because her parents are pastors at a church, and so for those of you who don't know, the Canadians, because I explained to Doug a while back what Coney Island was. It's like it's basically like a chili dog kind of diner where you get breakfast, and Coney dog is a chili dog, but it's kind of centered around that. But of course, most of the time people are buying like breakfast or sandwiches or salads or whatnot. So
well, yeah, you gave me such a hard time about not knowing what a Coney dog was, and in the end it's a chili dog. I know what a chili dog is.
Well,
I guess I don't know what a Coney dog.
But a chili dog is a Coney dog in its truest form.
I find it hard to believe if we didn't.
If it doesn't.
I'm going to what do you say when you take over someone's culture? The cultural appropriation. The Coney dog is
the appropriation of the Canadians.
The chili dog people should be very angry with the Coney people.
I don't think so, buddy. I don't think that's how that works. But
who invented chili? Because chili is like spaghetti sauce with beans thrown in, like the Mexican and the Italian.
Yeah, that's true.
Who made chili?
Hey Google, who invented chili?
According to Wikipedia, chili became commonly prepared in northern Mexico and southern Texas. Unlike some other Texas foods, such as barbecued brisket, chili largely originated with working-class Tejana and Mexican women.
Wow.
Yes, good guess.
Thanks, Google. Well, I knew there was a little bit of Mexico in there, but I would have thought the Italian, because I always kind of think it's more of like a spaghetti sauce with beans.
Yeah, right.
But I can see the barbecue side for Texas too. So
yeah,
man, that, like if you come not for the carving, like we just gave you a nugget, right?
Oh yeah.
It's not all about the carving and coffee.
No,
we haven't talked about it.
Chili and carving today.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, are you good? You got anything else?
Well, I came up with one other thing. Annalise and I tried to celebrate Valentine's Day a few days before, and it was just it was a complete failure of a Valentine's Day. We booked a reservation at this restaurant that we've been wanting to try for literally over a year. It's a beautiful real bar. It's an actual barn, a wood framed barn, and they serve. They have a farm, and they serve in season food from their animals from this property. So we were really excited. We got a spot, but it was like 9:15 p.m. and so we were kind of biding time before that, kind of trying to do some fun things. So I planned a couple of fun things for us to do. But one of those was to have a snack, to get a meal before we go to get dinner, right? This is around like 5:30 or 6 o'clock. So we stop at this Indian place and I order what is just one small meal with some like curry, beans, and some onions and whatnot, just a small meal for us to share. And in the process of doing this, I saw someone walk by with some little bread things. So I ran up to the front and I said, "What are those little bread things?" And she says, "Oh, bread. Oh, okay, we'll get you bread." And then 10 minutes later, my bread is here, but it's not just bread. It's these two giant elephant ears with a side of this curried beans, garbanzo beans, with another side of some other stuff that I don't know what it is, but I ate it and it was delicious. We were so full by the end of that meal. Annalise was like, "I don't know if I'm going to be able to eat tonight. Like, I don't think I'm even going to be hungry." And I was like, "Well, I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'm sure we'll be hungry in 3 hours." So we're sitting at my house, kind of just chilling, watching Jim Gaffigan's new special, which I enjoyed thoroughly. Annalise fell asleep too. And I woke her up and, it's like, "Hey, it's time to, I literally woke her up from watching Jim Gaffigan, and said, "It's time to get some food." And she's like, "Are you hungry?" I said, "Not at all." She said, "Neither am I." So, okay, cancel the reservation. So we didn't do anything. We literally, our entire day, it involved going to an Indian fast food place, eating a little meal, and then driving home, and then her falling asleep to some comedy special. That was our like big hot date night.
There you go. Get used to it.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I was trying to think of things that I did this week too, but you know what? The funny thing is, folks, we recorded so late last week
Yeah.
that it's only been like half a week since our last podcast. So
Yeah.
haven't done a lot. Did a little bit of carving. I've been working on a couple silly, nonsensical prototypes in basswood, which are not ready to be seen by anyone. But kooky, strange idea that I'm having too much fun by myself with. But on the other carving end, I did this. I did some experimental carving in bark. I did a frog.
I love it. He's so hipster.
You know what's
frog.
funny? Every time that I carve something, like, to me, he's a frog man, right? He's wearing a beanie for those listening, and he's got like a turtleneck fisherman sweater type thing.
He's huge.
But,
by the way,
yeah,
he's like the size of your hand. He's giant.
Yeah, it's a big carving.
Bigger than your hand, yeah.
But people keep figuring out names for. Is he from the movie this or that or whatever? I'm like, I have no idea. But they're calling out. He looks like this guy. I'm like,
yeah,
he's a frog man. I don't know, frog man.
And you name things like I do. Head of man.
I've never heard of these characters before. And I did another little cottonwood carving with the kind of a sideways glance to him. So
the grain on that, man. You get closer on that. You send me a picture of this, and I started zooming in, and the grain is so stinking nice.
It is nice grain. The only issue that I have is that I wish I had used a different finish because it darkened it again. It looked really nice before I finished it, but no, I'm happy with it. But yeah, so I'm feeling a little bit more confident with a little bit of the side glances and stuff, and whereas most of my carvings in the past have been like straight focused.
Yeah,
but that was cool. Fun. But otherwise, yeah, not much going on. Like I said, barbecue meal for Valentine's, and today I smashed the piano. That was fun.
You did?
I did it.
You ended up doing it.
Yep. At work, we had a piano in the basement, an older piano, but when I say older, but not good enough to be old enough to be like an antique piano. Like it's still like a veneer plywood case on it. But I did see when I was inside, like it was tuned in 65 and then 1969. People just signed the tunings on it.
Oh yeah.
But my only tool was a sledgehammer.
I've heard that is a seriously dangerous proposition.
Well, tell me about it now because it's done and gone. What did I do wrong?
Well, I've heard that the tension that those things are under is so much that if you were to burn it in a bonfire or even break it, that it can really hurt people. Like bad things can happen. But you didn't find that?
No, I find that hard to believe because it's on a cast frame. So that fire would have to be so hot that frame would have to melt to pop the strings,
Right.
which are under tension, but they're still just wires.
Yep.
So it's not like elastic tension.
Right. Right.
So I don't, but anyway, I only use a sledgehammer. So that was big fun. I put a couple faces of people I was thinking of while I was smashing it. And
oh no, Doc. That's
it
terrible.
was great.
There are counselors for that sort of thing.
But it was so heavy. I carried that thing out and I had to put it in my truck and then drive it around the building to the dumpster. And yeah, even it was a feat just to carry that cast in the guts out. So
yeah, I can only
the rest
imagine.
I just took in little pieces, but and the cast too. When I did hit it with a sledge, it would break. So it was nice. I could make smaller pieces, but regardless, it was the one chunk I took out must have been a couple 100 pounds. Like it was crazy.
Wow.
But yeah, that's about it. But on another note, it's kind of fun, and we talked about this, and this is going to lead us into our little topic of discussion. And that I went back. This is episode number 23, so almost half a year, so 6 months ish into our podcasting venture here. And I went back and listened to episode number 1, and I called you today and I said, your job today is to play episode 1. Did you do it?
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah, it was funny. It was fun.
Yeah.
A lot of lulls, some quiet spaces, and
totally. Which I tried to fill awkwardly with like nervous joke questions, like what's your favorite color, and you're like, well, we're not there yet. We have a structure here, you doofus.
Yeah, and my audio was worse than it is now.
Mm-hmm.
But it was still fun. It was fresh and new and fun, and we were just winging it. And the truth of the matter is, we've been winging it 23 times in a row.
Yeah.
So we were talking about how we feel it's going, and we're going to leave this open. We want some feedback from our audience, but it was I enjoyed listening to it. I'm probably going to go back and listen to a couple more of the early ones,
right,
just to see that make sure I don't repeat all my old man stories every episode.
Oh, there's no avoiding that.
Yeah, no, it's going to happen. Yeah, for sure.
Nod and smile is what my MO is.
But we're just talking about some of the things that we could change, things that we could make better.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think if looking over all the at least on the YouTube side, I don't really have privy to the audio downloads, and I know that's pretty much the same as the YouTube, but pretty well leveled out pretty much across the 23. So there isn't really any growth happening per se, would you say? Sure. And we just want to see how we can improve it to make it more than it is at this point. But anyway, it was fun. It was fun to go back and listen to the beginnings, and yeah, here we are. What were your thoughts?
Well, it's funny because I was sitting by a fire in Kentucky, Webster, Kentucky, with Abby Peterson of Wood Life. And he said, man, I really enjoy that podcast that you do with Doug, man. I really admire Doug a lot. And, I was thinking, man, what I'd love to hear you and Doug, because it's usually you guys talking. And most people really like that. But, I was thinking it'd be nice every once in a while to have somebody in there that you could talk to, get some, because I always wonder how other carvers think, and I mean, you guys talk about what you think, he's bored of us is what he was saying.
Yeah, I think that's what he was saying. Yeah. Yeah. Well, we talked about that at one point too, that do we want guests? Do we like, we do like the nonsensical. So as far as the guests go, obviously it's going to be like their story and some banter. And I like that idea too.
Yeah.
As long as they kind of accept that we're just goofballs.
Totally.
Like we could get the wrong artist in here and he'll just want to be very serious and boring.
So when I do my carving, I don't really carve, I subtract. And when I subtract, I'm shaping the negative space, not the space itself.
Exactly what I was thinking.
Like, oh, so, no.
We got to keep it fun and fresh, not nerdy. But yeah. I do like the idea, so maybe we will incorporate a guest in the future here and there. Definitely. Never like not a every week thing at all.
No.
But
I can't see that for us either. But
no, as a special here and there, that was a good idea. I accept that one.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
otherwise, for me, I think that the format is so much fun because it's pretty loose. And anything, one thing we've done recently is combined the ending so that we don't just have these two separate categories of like media and featured artists, because it's kind of all encompassing. It's like a lot of times the media, the things we're consuming, are produced by artists. So we're just combining those two sections, which is good because it leaves room, the floor open a little bit more for just kind of these free conversations that we have, which to me, that's what I most look forward to.
Yeah, for sure. And one of my early takeaways too was right off the hop. It's called the Coffee and Carving Show.
Yeah.
Episode number 1, I was drinking water.
Uh-huh.
Right. The coffee thing has never really panned out as a coffee thing. And so I'm good to drop it and just think of the coffee. This is our coffee break.
Yeah.
This is our coffee conversation there, so whether we have coffee or not, we won't, and no one sent us coffee either. Right. 6 months. No one sent
coffee
us
yet.
No coffee.
People have offered to send us mystery items, wood, all kinds, cottonwood bark, all kinds of things. Knives.
No coffee. So we're not going to highlight our coffee other than
probably bombs.
Maybe bombs. Yeah.
Who knows? The mystery items, man. When somebody's like, "Hey, I got something for you, but I can't tell you what it is."
Can't tell you what it is.
I'm like, okay, well, you can keep it.
Yeah. Not to insult that person, but we appreciate the offer.
No, and it really isn't to troll them or be mean. I totally think most people are goodwill. It's like 98% a joke, but we appreciate all the offers of gifts for sure. Don't want to scoff at that. That's awesome. So the fact that people would even want to give us anything makes me feel. See, I've never had that. I've never had people sending me stuff, so it's fun.
Well, I was kind of eating my words last week because we were offered some cottonwood bark, and I was sitting there going, "Wow, there's no way in the world that I'm going to allow someone to send us boxes of bark because I know what postage costs."
Yeah.
And then this week I was looking at my bark supply and I was like, "You dummy!" But so if you have bark, I would gladly pay for the postage if you wanted to send a box of bark. Now, that's not me begging.
And either. Doug's address is 3131. No, I'm just kidding. Just my address.
I'm just saying that I could have taken him up on that. Yeah. But if you have bark, I'm not asking for anyone that says they have bark and they give me 3 of their 6 pieces that they have there. If you have bark, like you have bark. So if you are one of those that have bark,
we're talking like, big bark.
We're talking the back shed of bark, then we'll talk. But yeah, that was funny. But
really, those are my thoughts. Yeah, and I'd love to hear what other people have to think as well. I think just hearing from Abby and getting the critical feedback was it's good. I mean, the people that we want to hear from are the people who enjoy the podcast, who sit there and listen to every episode. And we've been hearing from you guys, and those are the people that we want to hear from. So
exactly. And I think some of the things that have manifested over time, which are great. I mean, obviously they're my jokes.
Yeah.
That's only been the last little while.
Yeah.
Your silly intros, that's my new favorite thing.
Yeah.
So we have to evolve. So yeah, we do want some feedback. And I was listening to another podcast and they were saying, go to your podcast provider and leave us a review because that really helps push the podcast to another level or whatever. I'm like, really? So if you have that option, go ahead and leave us a review too. We'd appreciate it.
Totally.
Probably if you have a negative review, then well, I'll tell you off air what you can do with it. But no, just kidding.
Oh my god. No. And this is why we have trolls. No, I'm just kidding. But speaking of trolls, I don't want to give him the time of day, but
this has been I want to say that I have enjoyed nothing more than you getting a taste of my world this week.
Yes, yeah.
I have enjoyed nothing more. In fact, I was just giggling every day this week when I was reading some of your comments and
The
stuff,
comments
and
from this guy. Yeah.
yeah, I enjoy them so much. So yeah,
Well,
I'm
really,
glad that he moved on.
yeah. Well, we'll see. What's funny is, so I should say with the comments generally, where I'm not going to like reread them, but
No.
basically the guy um who originally was saying, you know, Doug's not ready to sell his work. I saw his profile and I thought, you know what? He's being rude. I don't want to support that. So I blocked him. I don't really block people. I don't think I've ever blocked anyone before. It's kind of a big move, and it wasn't trying to offend the guy. I just thought, you know, he's kind of being a jerk. I don't want him following my channel. It's kind of, he's being mean. We don't need that meanness in this community. So I blocked him, and he started from another account. He found me. He started messaging me all this stuff about how, you know, mostly profanity laden, about how, you know, there are thousands of wood carvers in Russia who are better than you, and you think you're so great. And I was thinking about it, and I'm like, everything he said is a really extreme version of the truth. He's like, your YouTube videos are horrible. Right. Yeah, you're basically useless in the real world. I can't imagine you being successful at anything. And I'm reading this all, and I'm going, oh, that's true. Yeah, no, there are definitely thousands of
and all
Russian
this time
who are better than me.
For sure.
Yeah,
and better than each other too.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's Russian woodcarvers that are better than Russian woodcarvers.
Yeah, sure. No, for sure.
But what I enjoyed the most is I've always put you up here as a carver, like on my little pedestal. Don't take it too seriously. I'm just saying, I no, but it's great that I kind of took it hard a little bit that I wasn't good enough to sell.
Yeah.
But knowing that you absolutely suck was the best part. It just made my week.
Oh, he went so much harder on me than he did you.
It was
and
great.
Said, and he ended them all with like, do me a favor and stop making those what did he say? Those embarrassing YouTube videos.
All of which the videos are the carvings.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that was another comment. He keeps going on.
As far as your new camera though, I gotta admit though, I am gonna miss the back of your head.
Well, let me so like I was saying, everything he said, almost everything he said, he was a little bit mean, but was true in some way. And so I read it and I thought, yeah, no, that's true. Yeah, they're definitely better woodcarvers in Russia. Yeah, there's definitely, my YouTube videos are horrible. I've rewatched them. And part of the reason, and I don't know why I feel the need to explain myself, but I was telling my brother yesterday, this is your fault, you jerk, because he started a YouTube channel and has managed to grow it really quickly from filming his work. So he's a mechanic, so he films little blurbs of him working on a project and showing people how he did what he did. And he's like, dude, I'm not putting any effort into editing, just getting the volume, just getting the video out, the content out. He's like, you should do the same thing. Don't worry about making it fancy, because otherwise you'll never do it. That's why you haven't posted any videos. He's saying, just make the content, edit it as quickly as possible, get it out rough and ready. And so I started doing that. But what happened was I put so little effort into the videos I was publishing. If you go on my YouTube, and this is not the case going forward, I've started to care more about this, put a little bit more effort into the YouTube end of it, not just the carving school, fundamentals of wood carving. But my videos previously are that, like, when my head's in the way, I'm accidentally doing a voiceover over a partial part where I'm talking, the audio isn't syncing up properly. It's just embarrassing. So if you want to laugh, go find my YouTube videos. Some of them are okay, some of them are not. Anyway, but this guy just absolutely tore into me, and I was reading these comments to my buddy Gabe, and he's just like, he can't even breathe. He's laughing so hard. He's like, dude,
no, it was fantastic.
He's like, please tell me you left these up, please, because it's awesome that someone went through the effort to like tear you apart this way. I didn't. I deleted them, but
yeah, that's your first real troll. And I was saying that how cold I've become, because like, I've got well over, I don't even know anymore, over 200 videos, and there's comments every day coming from somewhere, and there's always one in there that just jabs you every day.
Oh my gosh, like, just gets you at your core too, right?
Oh yeah, you just don't look at your comments while you're still in bed in the morning, because it's not a good start to your day.
For real.
And the sad part is there's so many great people. We always forget the great people and the great comments. Like we get encouraging emails all the time.
Yep.
But we always focus on the one jerk,
Yeah.
and it's not fair to everybody else. So
Yeah.
we won't give them the time of day anymore. But I wanted to razz you about that because it was so great.
I'm glad.
I just enjoyed it. Yeah.
I had to bring it up because it was an enlightening experience. And it just did make me more grateful. Well, I should say one of the outcomes of that for what, like you just said, like all of the encouraging things that I started to receive after that. Maybe I didn't see them for as much as they were before. Now I just, whenever there's a positive comment on a carving or anything on the internet, I'm like, oh man, that's really sweet of them. They're being kind. They're taking time to write that because they want to encourage me to keep doing things. And there's most people are that way. So it's pretty awesome.
Yeah. And I'll say one drawback, one sad thing on my end, because I felt it myself too, is that we can't keep, like, as much as you want to write a note back to everybody all the time, like I just can't. Like I honestly cannot reply to everybody. I try to read everything that comes through, but to go back and write another letter to each individual is impossible. But I don't reach out to many people, whether that's YouTube or Instagram or whatever, but I understand the non-response feel.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel bad that
Yeah.
I'm actually doing that to other people.
Yeah.
But then because I know what it feels like when I've reached out, it's just like cold. And it's like, oh, he read it.
Yeah.
He don't care, and that's not the case. But you feel how you feel, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we love you, everybody. That's the bottom line.
It's true. We love you dearly.
So
you know what time it is?
I do. I think our intro is going to be longer than our questions.
Mailbag.
I think that was in sync.
Almost. You know what's funny, Doug, is we had almost no questions, just a lot of comments this week.
I know. Well, like I said earlier, it was such a short week too that we're probably gave last week like a week and a half's worth of our 3 days today. So I only saw a couple of questions so far, so I'm not sure what you got there.
But we did just receive a question from Ed Wolfstag, our good buddy with the last name that's made up to protect his real last name, but we still love it. We love his last name, his fake last name. He says Wood Spirit versus Green Man. Hey, Alec and Doug, quick question for this week. What is were you saying because he said our names properly this time?
No, I was saying because this is a new question I've never heard. So
I was thrown off by the fact he said our names properly. So he's asking,
you know what's funny? I'm going to butt right in.
Yeah.
Episode number 1. If you didn't know my name was Doug, you'd be calling me Dan.
Oh yeah,
because we started right off the hop, from episode 1 with the dumb names, and it just carried on for 23 shows later. We're still people are making up names for us. So that's kind of fun. Sorry, go ahead.
It's true. What is the difference between a wood spirit and a green man? I thought they were the same thing, just different words to describe the end result. After listening for a few episodes, I'm wondering if they are distinct references. Anyway, he says, keep the dad jokes coming as well as the vitamins. Remember, you can't have one without the otter.
That's right.
Well, who wants to take this one?
Well, I know that I know nothing, but I'll tell you my general impression, then you can correct me after. But to me, the wood spirit is basically old man face in the wood. I started a little thing. I started calling him the woods watcher. Just a face in the wood. And to me, green man always involves vegetation.
Yeah. No, really.
Like whether he be his hair or his beard or leaves, or he's just hidden in the leaves or whatever. I don't know if you would say they're attached to him or not. But what's the history on the Green Man versus Wood Spirit?
Yeah. Well, so from what I've read about the wood spirit, it's not quite as understood, or there's not quite as much history around it. I think maybe they were kept in homes as good luck to the home. So you see that a lot of times in Germany, that and this tradition is still upheld. I have actually Austrian friends that live 15 minutes north of me, and they Italian Austrian people have a carving of a wood spirit that they got from Germany. And they said, well, we were told this is good luck. And that's kind of part of it's an Austrian tradition as well as a German one. But so, I'm not exactly sure where it stems from. But as far as the Green Man goes, that one has been around for a long time. And that's been kind of an architectural feature that shows up in Europe, and but also before that in Asia Minor. And, as far as where it comes from, they think it's kind of a Druid symbol, and then the Christians kind of adopted it into the Catholic Church, and to try to bring those Druid people into the church, like we've talked about before. And so they used the imagery of the leaves around the face to highlight this Holy Spirit coming at Pentecost. So they take the leaves, and instead of surrounding the face, sometimes they'd have them coming out of the mouth to represent, of course, Holy Spirit, life coming from the mouth. So they'd have like birds and twigs and branches and things coming off from the mouth. So that's kind of a little bit of the backstory. I don't know the full history of it, but they call it the enigma of the Green Man because they don't really know exactly where. They think it started in somewhere in Asia Minor, and then the Druids picked it up, but really there's just no set declared place from which the Green Man came from. So kind of cool that all these cultures kind of simultaneously adopted this character.
Yeah, like I think we may have touched on this earlier in past episodes, but I was always leery of, like, I know there's carvers that won't even say wood spirit or whatever because they're attributing something that's not there. So
yeah,
I think it's just they're just names at this point.
Yeah.
Names
No,
of the
yeah.
carvings.
Yep.
And I really enjoy carving both.
Yeah.
In fact, I could if I never carved anything else, I could live happily ever after.
Oh, totally.
They are totally my favorite things to carve at this moment.
Yeah.
So,
well, there's just so many things you can do with them. I mean, you can hide. Yeah, it's endless. I mean, it's endless, the compositions, and it's just so much fun. The organic objects next to the very like symmetrical faces. And
yeah, and I think for me, the wood spirit, not often, I shouldn't say never, but not often would you take a wood spirit from a dimensional piece of wood. Like, I'm going to go take a 2x2x6
Right.
and I'm going to make a wood spirit. I like the found wood, whether that be a branch or a log or a bark, or there's something extra creative because you can work with the found wood and make it work somehow, even if it is just dead on straight or in a live tree, but you can still work in the surroundings and create something, whereas it's not something that you could recreate exactly again. I guess I'm saying, like, it's not something that you would mass produce wood spirits out of a 2x2x6 basswood. Now you can for sure, but I'm saying it doesn't seem to be the norm.
Yeah, and the shapes lend themselves to different designs. On a piece of bark, you'll have a lot of inclusions, you'll have wider areas, narrower areas, and those shapes, they sort of suggest what can be done with them and what your limitations are. And a lot of people think, well, man, that makes it harder. It's easier to have a blank piece of 6x6 or 3x3x6, whatever, what have you, blank. No, to me, it's the exact opposite. It's nice that blank slate is harder to deal with. You have so many, it's almost infinite options.
I'm going to really ruin it for the audio guys, but for example, I'm holding up a piece of cottonwood bark that had a natural split in sections of bark where I worked the face into half of it, and it kind of fun. And the same thing on the weekend too is how I kind of undercut an existing crack, really.
Yeah.
And it was just fun. Like, that's the stuff I really enjoy.
Yeah.
Is trying to figure out what works best with that piece of wood.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that just brings out a little extra creativity that I really like. And like you said, how could you recreate them again?
Right.
Like each piece is different. So
yeah. So
good question.
yeah, thanks, Ed. So this is I think this is more of commentary. It's from Jason Leach. He wants to thank us for the podcast and the various formats of our work. And he says he's just kind of started carving this winter out of necessity of wanting to work in his garage. But unfortunately it wasn't heated. So he had to move in his basement. So he had to find a smaller scale project to work on. And he says he's been mostly doing spoons, bowls, and mushrooms. But he aspires to carve caricatures and particularly wood spirits. He doesn't think he's there yet, but his question is, are there carvers that you know of that specialize in things other than people and animals? Most of the best carvers I see specialize in this area for good reason, always looking for additional inspiration from the plant world or abstract art. Sorry for the long email, but wanted to express my thanks. As with all that is going on in the world, my nights of carving with your podcast has become my favorite night of the week. P.S. Shout out to Doug as a fellow Southern Ontarian.
Oh,
Jason.
there you go. Hey, I read that one earlier, and I had to actually think about it for a minute.
Yeah.
And I did have one idea. Like, so is it the bottom line question is caricatures or what do you say?
Animals.
Animals. Okay. So I brought to mind relief carvers.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas scenes or nature relief carved into things was one I was thinking of. Whereas, you could carve a mountain and the trees and maybe a cabin kind of stuff. That kind of relief carving. There's some real high relief carvers out there and they do a fantastic job. And of course, chip carvers. Chip carvers seem to be really chip carvers seem to be chip carvers, right?
Yeah.
They don't really venture. I guess I shouldn't say that as a thing, but overall, chip carving is unique in itself. That it's more designs than people or animals, right?
Totally. Yeah. No, and that's a good point. I think most of the work that I see, even when I've done judging a couple of times in the past, 90% of the show is going to be that. It's either going to be people, little caricature figures, people, animals. But then you do have the chip carvers. You do have the people who are making these bowls and spoons and such. But that being said, there are a lot of great relief carvers as well. Of course, the first one who comes to mind is John Engler. He's an instructor, but he's also a fantastic relief carver. And he does these scenes, like basically they look like paintings, and they're fully painted as well. He's an excellent, like yourself, he's an excellent painter, and I envy that. And so, but no, barn, snowy scape with these trees, and it's all of this very shallow, no more than an inch tall, and it's incredibly detailed, and you see the depth when you look in it and look at it. And there are a lot of carvers that specialize, well, few that are as good as him, but there are a lot of carvers who do that. Another one is Patrick Pointer. He's someone to look up. He's done less carving of these scenes, but he's really well known for his maritime. Am I saying that right? Maritime? Or these nautical scenes of ships, and I think he did the Titanic. But I mean, just stunning detail and mahogany, where you can just feel like the fragile little components, every little rope from the mast down to the point of the ship, the front of the ship. Mark, don't get at me for not knowing what the front of a ship is. Called the point. Anyway, it's just incredible to see people do these relief scenes of like landscapes and buildings, architectural stuff. So
another one just popped in mind was those Alec houses. Those little houses that they do, and mostly a lot of people do bark. I'm not Alec,
whimsical
fairy houses.
Yep. Alec houses. I was like, what on earth? You get me
Fairy.
confused with a fairy?
Fairy houses.
A fairy to you? That's the only time anyone's ever got me confused with a fairy.
The whimsical fairy houses, they're pretty cool too, and a lot of people do that. Is it fair to say, I don't want to put anybody in a box, but the people that are the best in their field are the ones that actually do specialize.
Yeah, no doubt.
Like I keep trying to put my finger in everything because my attention span is so low, and it's hard to ever become a master of like you're not gonna be a master spoon carver and a chainsaw carver. It doesn't seem to be like, or a intricate, like I said, relief carver and something, what I mean? Like you really need to really take it to the highest level. Like you do need to specialize.
Yeah. Right. No, and I don't know. It's tough. It's tough because when you say specialized, do you mean specialized in a medium? Do you mean, because there are people
A style, I guess I would
style.
say. Yeah.
No, that I can see. Yeah.
Like Harley Restall is a fantastic flat plane carver.
Yeah.
But he's not going to be a chainsaw carver on the side.
Well, there always will be those jerks who are good at everything.
Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, that's right.
I hate them. I mean, I mention him a lot. If Patrick Burke, this relief carver who does, these architectural carvings for a living, but then he can do this perfect, stunning busts, portraits, human figures, whatever. We just don't even talk about those kind of guys.
I guess you're right. You're right. I think an artist can use any medium and any style.
And that's why I think the really great Renaissance artists, they would always emphasize the importance of drawing, because that gives you a sense of the design of almost anything. If you can draw one thing really well, it's a lot easier to draw something else. A lot of those are transferable. Being able to see and translate, if you can do that, it definitely will help. So
you just ended all my hopes and dreams right there.
No,
I can't draw a stick man.
No, you just don't fully accept. You haven't your hands and brain have accepted it, but you haven't your conscience hasn't accepted that you're an artist yet. So you're just gonna keep fighting it.
Keep fighting it. Can't draw.
Yeah.
You got anything else there?
Yeah, there's one more, and I just
good.
About to switch over to it here. Give me just 1 second. All right, so it's from Christopher, and he talks about cedar. He says this is, I think, less a question, but just kind of remarks on the cedar that we talked about. Mountain juniper. He says it's scattered all over the hill country of Texas, and it's amazing for carving. It has a red heart that we mentioned with the aromatic cedar. He says he built a carving handle from it, and it's holding up really well. He compliments us both here, and I usually don't read these parts of the emails, but since we're low on emails as far as questions go, we'll just go through this whole one. It says,
go ahead.
I've been enjoying your videos, Terrence. You really got me in the mood to, and by the way, Terrence is Doug. You've really got me, especially since he's talking about videos here on YouTube, I'm sure. The instructions requested that I leave my email, but there was nowhere for me to, back up. He said, you really got me in the mood to get into cottonwood bark carving. In addition, I also enjoy your recent basswood carvings. And then Philip, he says, I'm having trouble purchasing your 5-piece carving set. Well, Christopher, if you check the website, it says that I'm sold out currently. So I haven't gotten a new order in, and they're incredibly slow. So it might be a while, unfortunately, but I will, if you check maybe, do a once a month check on the website. I do in fact restock when I'm able to get the tool. So, but unfortunately it's not an option right now, but he said he's going to sign up for the carving school when he does get those tools. So appreciate that. I very much appreciate it, Christopher. Anyway, he says, thanks y'all for the weekly entertainment. And Terrence, you have the best / worst jokes. And Philip, you have the best accents. Sincerely, Chris Schubert. Yeah.
Thanks, Chris.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. That is a compliment. The best, worst jokes.
Yeah.
I feel his pain though. Have you ever wanted something and you just gotta wait and wait and wait and wait to get what you want?
I almost want to tell the guy he should go and order the tools elsewhere, but I don't know. It's such a bummer to have to wait that long.
I couldn't wait. I would have bought them already, and
yeah. Yep. Yeah. But anyway, we're to the new portion of this the new combined portion of this podcast called media portion.
Media, or the added value to yes.
The added value to your day.
Sing
via
sing
media.
that. Added value to your day via media. What you've been watching, learning.
what you've been watching, what you've been listening to.
You work on it this week.
So as far as media goes, what you been up to, listening to, taking in? Any artists inspiring you? What's going on?
Well, like I said, I've been listening wise. I was into our podcast again. So I would encourage anyone, go back and listen to the old ones. They're still worth a laugh, because you know what? At my age, at least, I don't remember what we talked about. It's like all new shows again. Yeah. But I got onto this guy. Never saw this video. It's like 12 years old. Or no, it was filmed in 1999. I don't know when it was put on YouTube.
Wow.
But it is a Rex Branson.
Mm-hmm.
The channel is called Branson Artworks, and it's the only video on his channel. But it's a 2-hour long bark carving tutorial.
Yeah,
and it's pretty good. He's pretty good.
Yeah, and I've seen it actually. Yeah, someone sent me it a while back. I'm not sure who it was. I can't remember now, but I was so excited to see it, because it's not like you get a lot of that kind of thing, you know, from that era, or from older videos in general of bark carving. You just kind of see mostly new stuff.
Yeah. Like I watched Ron Adamson on YouTube.
Yeah.
But this guy was like, I asked you, I said, have you ever heard of this guy? Like, because he's obviously a well-known teacher. Because I think he filmed this video for a VCR, like a cassette.
Yeah.
Tape. Yeah. And he was selling it at one point. Yep. But yeah, there's a 2-hour tutorial, and it's great. Now, mind you, his cottonwood, he's carving it like butter. But I always like to see how other carvers carve, and how they hold their tools differently. And I think to myself, am I all left-handed, whatever? And how do they hold these things on the side? And how it's just fun to watch somebody else carve, and to pick up some little tips and tricks on the way.
It is indeed. Yes.
What have you been listening to, watching?
Well, my good friend named Joel. His name is Joel Grothaus, and I've been saying his name wrong for a long time. It's Joel Grothaus, and he's a Grot, I think, Haus, maybe. That's right. I'm about to find out right now, because if I don't do it, nobody's going to know who to look up. Anyway, he's an amazing painter. I've been looking up to him for a while. I'm going to ban the accent now because it's terrible. But I mean, unbelievable painter. Local to Detroit, actually. So I was introduced to him by another artist friend, an animation friend, Ian Sigmund, who owns Gunner Studios. It's a production company that produces a lot of animation for, you know, you name it. They've done it for many big corporations. But anyway, he's in the same studio as those guys. And Joel is a fine oil painter. And he's one of those guys where I have a lot of reverence for him. Like when we met to talk over coffee this week, I was just, it's just one of those things where you know that you're in the presence of somebody who is just great. I mean, just great at what they do. And it's awesome to talk with someone like that. And found out that a mutual friend of ours is commissioning a painting of a family member. And yeah, I'm just jealous of this mutual friend, and it makes me want to commission him to do something. And at some point, I'd love to do it. But anyway, this is one that he was showing me that he had done. He was a painting instructor, advanced painting instructor at College for Creative Studies for a while. He's a young dude. He's super young, but it's hard to tell because of the reflection, but the detail, I mean, it's just every single last hair is perfectly shaded. And, you know, his portraits are stunning. This is actually a painting of my friend, Matt.
Oh, wow.
If you've met Matt,
Alec
before.
Is showing up, showing Instagram photos of, I wasn't sure if the first one you're saying that he shows every hair on the hair, because the first picture was a rabbit.
Yeah. There we go. But I mean, I could go on and showing you his work. He's just, I mean, it's such a beautiful style. It's
incredible.
beautiful way of painting. Here's a pile of driftwood on an old leather case that he painted. And anyway, at any rate, worth checking out. It's Grothaus, like I said, Grothaus, and it's Joel, Joel, and fantastic Detroit painter. And I'm excited to hang out with him again. But check him out on Instagram.
Well, very good.
And he teaches,
well, folks.
He teaches.
Well, that's brings us to the end of episode 23 already.
That's right.
And so, like we talked about, how we are interested in your feedback and how you could see this channel or this show changing, or any improvements that you can think of in a nice way. And we appreciate your reviews on your things. And let's make let's make it grow.
Let's do it. And remember, folks, take your vitamins.
There it is. I apologize for that, folks.